record.
Hello again, YouTube. I am the Wicker Man, Malachi Wickerman, and I'm here with Jen from Jen Corzad, and Jen Plays Minecraft. And of course, I do my gaming videos on tronacraft YouTube channel. And it's going to be part 2 of our little interview with the gamer on Diablo 2. We're touching base with Diablo 2, I believe is something like that we called it.
Yeah.
And today we're going to talk about some gaming scams that are out there that Jen has experienced, and one of them, I got some notes here. One was called the bait and switch scam, which had to do with the Annihilus for the Soul Stone switcheroony.
Dirty.
They're dirty. Another one was a Wall of Trust, Diablo retirement trade scam, and a free for trust quitting the game scam. And we might talk a little bit about glitching and hacking, and something about a kill wall in the camps. But Jen's going to tell us all about that, and we might talk about some economics and mechanics. That's what we talked about last time. But anyway, let Jen take over from here.
Yeah. So last time we left off, we were talking about the barter system in Diablo 2, how players kind of make their own economic system out of the game itself, and kind of forget about the gold, which is the already established economic system. So it's based on trading of unique and rare items. Good items in the game is what makes the real value of the economic system. And inflation is based on that.
It's coming back to me. My old man memory is starting to kick in. We talked about how gold actually lost its value, and the real value in the game was what the players came up with, which was rune stones, I believe, right?
Yeah, runes.
And had more value than the gold. So
Exactly, yeah. And because the players are able to take the reins of the game into their own hands and kind of make their own game within the game, this allows for some corruption to ensue in the game itself by players. So any time that players or people are allowed to give anytime people are given a certain amount of power, there's going to be some kind of corruption that takes place. But at the same time, there's also good things that happen out of that too. There's goodwill. For instance, there's this thing called rushing in Diablo 2, where basically somebody of a high level character will join a low level character's game, and they'll just rush them through all the quests required to move through the game quickly. That way, they'll stay a low level character, but they'll make their way through the game, where they can later on defeat bosses that will give them a lot of experience, and they can level up much faster than they could before.
Cool. I can attest that I've seen Jen come to the aid of somebody who was pleading for help with less levels, and he explained what he was doing, and he was just there.
I do like rushing people and helping people when I can.
That's what that was called then? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But at the same time, one of the biggest things that happens in the trading system is scamming. And what's the first scam?
Well, the first one on my list here, I got something called bait and switch scam.
Right.
I probably came up with that little name from the way you described to me, which is an old school flim flam scam kind of thing. But yeah, you were telling me about Annihilus getting switched with something called a Soul Stone. Since I'm a total newbie in Diablo, you can tell me about that, and any other newbies out there. I'd be happy to hear about this also. So you don't fall for it.
Yeah. So I'm on Diablo right now, and I'm in one of my characters here, which has a small charm called an Annihilus charm. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. Basically, when it's in your inventory, it gives your character special boosts and stats that you wouldn't normally get. It's a very rare item to get. Probably the rarest item in the game that you can acquire, and one of the best, because it only takes up one space in your inventory. And it just so happens that this small charm has the exact same image. It looks exactly the same as another item in the game, which has no value at all, called the Soul Stone. It's just a quest item. And so what people will do is when you go into your trading interface, I don't have another player here, so I can't show you, but you would trade with somebody, and you would put up the small charm here for trade, and they would be trying to trade you an Annihilus charm for, say, I don't know, 10 pieces of armor or something, 10 really good items that you have, because what's worth an eyeless charm? I mean, there's no real value on it. It's worth so much that
it's priceless. It's priceless.
yes. So they're offering their eyeless charm, and you're offering just about anything that you have for it, because you're never going to get one in the entire length of the time that you're playing the game. It's so rare. And they'll show you it, and you can look at it when trading, and when you're not looking, they'll switch it with the soul stone, which has absolutely no value at all. But you didn't see them do that, so
oh, that's low.
So you end up trading all of your stuff for something that has no value at all.
Oh,
Bait
man.
and switch.
The feeling you must have after falling for that. Oh my.
I admit it happened to me once. It did. It hurt. Should have looked, but I didn't.
I cut a brother for that. Oh boy. Well, watch out for that, guys. Okay, and before we get to the wall of trust, because I think you're going to do a demonstration on that one, let's jump to the retirement trade.
Oh yes.
Somebody's retiring from the game of Diablo and is feeling especially auspiciously generous with their inventory. How's that work out, Jen?
Yeah. Okay, so sometimes people will make a game and it'll show up on the listing of games called I Quit Diablo or Quitting Diablo 2 or Free I Quit, something along those lines. So some sucker will join the game and they'll be talking to this guy. They'll be in their text because you can chat right on Diablo 2 really easy. They might be like, oh, I'm giving something away for free, or I'm quitting Diablo 2, so I want to give all my stuff away, so that way it doesn't go to waste. But there's a catch to it.
There's always a catch.
They might throw some kind of pitch like, well, I have to know that you're actually going to use the items that I'm going to give you, and you're not just going to sell them or something, or you're not just going to quit Diablo 2 yourself. So they'll say something like, so you got to prove your trust to me, or you've got to prove that I can trust you with my
I know I got this wall of trust thing in my mind, and I keep thinking about how that one worked, and you put stuff down, but basically you were telling me that they were throwing stuff on the ground or something, weren't they?
Yeah. So, well, going back to the other one that we were just talking about, the retirement scam, they'll make you drop all the gear that you have in order to prove your trust to them, or that they can trust you. So it's always different. The scammers, they always throw it a different way, or make a fool out of you a different way, whatever way they can. So they might make you throw all of the gear that you're already wearing on the ground, so that way they can trust you, or do something blindly, with blind faith, so that they can trust you, or you give all your gear to them for free. And then they'll just leave the game as soon as they get your stuff.
So they pick it all
up. They don't
up
give you anything.
And log out. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had told that to me, and I had marked it down as two different things. But basically, that's the same thing.
Yeah.
They're either retiring from the game or they're quitting the game, which is the same thing. And you can have all this stuff for free, but you gotta prove to me that I can trust you.
Exactly.
And so I guess you said they throw it down on the ground somehow, or drag it over and take off with your loot, basically.
Yeah.
And you were going to give us a demonstration about the wall of trust where someone would get on one side of the wall, and if I was logged in, if we had been a little bit more prepared before we jumped into this with a little bit of time to shoot this video, we do our interviews in one take.
Yeah, we try to.
We try to, anyway.
Yeah.
So
on the game here, this thing right here, in one of the camps.
So nefarious other player, he's on the other side of the wall.
And so, just like my mercenary here, on the other side, that would be the other player, and I'm the sorceress.
The receiver of goodwill on this side of the wall.
Yeah. They'll be like free for trust or something like that. And they'll bring you over to this wall. They'll call it the wall of trust. This happened to me once, and I didn't get scammed because I already knew what was going on. It was way, way too obvious. But they'll be like, okay, so I'm going to give you this Shaco hat for your vampire gaze, or something like that. And they'll be like,
so, I don't know what that means.
So this is the wall of trust. This is a different way of trading, and you basically have to drop your item on your side, and then you'll run over and grab the item that I dropped on the ground.
And
That's
from
what
here,
they try to
from where
pull.
I sit, you can't see what's on the ground on the other side of that wall. Huh? And you're like, do-y-do-y-do-y-do-y-do-y, and you arrive on the other side of the wall, and lo and behold, there ain't nothing there.
Exactly. or even they might drop something like a key or something that has absolutely no value when you think they're dropping a helmet. And then they'll run over and pick up your thing before you get the chance.
Hey, where's my Choco Vampire helmet? Hey, what's this?
Yeah.
It's a key. It must be in a chest around here somewhere. I'll look around for the chest that the key fits into. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. So
Meanwhile, several hours later, hey, reminds me of that oldest joke commercial, but I can't talk about that. Copyright issues. Anyway.
Scamming. And there's no political power or justice system in the game. Players are not given any chance to have any kind of political power, so nobody can establish any kind of any system that would check crime or scamming. So, but like I said, at the same time, because the game allows players to take some of the reins themselves and make their own decisions and shape the game to how they want, people have goodwill out of that too, like rushing people for free. Sometimes people will do a service out of it actually and call it rush for high rune or something like that. So whoever's getting rushed will give the person rushing them a high rune or something of value. But I mean,
so they're going to pay for that assistance that they get, that
right.
rush assistance.
But
that's interesting.
That's a good faith thing though, because after the rush is done, which might take half an hour, they could just leave the game and not pay them.
Oh wow, wouldn't that be something?
So normally when I tried to set up a
That'd
service
just
like
be
that,
flat out wrong, man.
it happens though. It happens all the time.
That's sad.
I would do rush for 2 high runes. That's what I would do. And I would be the person rushing, and I would be like, okay, so halfway through the rush, you have to give me half the payment, and then after the rush, you give me the rest of it. And sometimes people would be like,
Sounds
okay,
like a
I'll
gangster thing, man. A kidnap, ransom fee kind of thing. Yeah. Interesting. I know that when I first started studying a little bit, I looked for some research stuff on gaming when I knew we were going to be doing some stuff, and I found somewhat of what you might deem a scholarly type article on gaming economics, and I don't really clearly remember all the details, and I'm going to revisit that because it was a good article, and I starting from zero, I realized that gaming economics and how it works is a big thing, and I really want to learn how that works, and apparently the mechanics of the game from our discussions is important, and because it creates a whole new economic system that the gamers themselves come up with. And in the article, I do vaguely remember the article that I read. They were comparing gaming in this country, or in the Western world, as opposed to what Chinese gaming works, and how some of them they just kind of peter out really quick once they start doing this bartering thing. The bartering thing, it gets old quick, and then it starts to get really scammy.
Exactly.
To use the terms we're using here, that's precisely how I would term it from what I remember. It gets scammy, and then it gets worn out. Then the game just kind of fizzles away, and then they'll come up with another game, and that gets popular, and the cycle just repeats itself. Yeah, that's interesting.
It's really interesting how MMOs like this, when players are able to do things like that, it's interesting to see how the markets inflate, and the value of items actually. Inflation does happen in video games. It's kind of crazy, but the Game Theorists is a YouTube channel, and they did a video recently about how
I like that guy.
World of Warcraft, how they could save our economy, but because they can actually.
I want to watch that.
It's fascinating because he discusses how the people can actually watch the economic system in World of Warcraft and see. They can play around with it and see how they can try and fix the economy in the game itself, and then try to use those techniques on the actual economy. So, interesting. No, video games are not worthless.
I think emerging markets. Yeah.
But I think that's all we have time for this video.
Yes. Real life calls, and until we do this full time, that man's got to go to work.
Yeah.
I am doing this full time.
Well, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like.
Yes, like us here at tronacraft.com. Go see Jen Plays Minecraft. You can visit Jen Corzat also if you like, and we got a couple of websites out there, and we are Genwick Media. Thanks for tuning in, kids and grown-ups, old people like me.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks. Take care, guys. His game was just sitting there kind of playing and things were going on, and he's like, finally, I leveled up, finally. I'm like, oh, good. I don't know what that means.
It is a good feeling when you're level 91 and you finally hit level 92. It takes forever to do that.
One day I'll understand that, and you other amateurs out there in YouTube land, you'll know too.
And the reason it takes so long to level up is because normally you start out the game as a level 1 character, and then as you play through the game and complete all the quests and whatnot, you actually level up normally. So it's not really a grinding system where you're close to death all the time, but rather it's a game where as you complete quests, you get experience based on the monsters, and the monsters get a little stronger as you get a little stronger.